Hello and welcome. Yeah, I know that's redundant to another Netflix commentary track. Actually, this is Starz Spider-Man 3. What a great title for a superhero flick. Directed by Sam Raimi, starring Tobey Maguire. And this would be the end of Spider-Man till 2012, I think, with The Amazing Spider-Man. We are following up the Titanic of superhero films with one that's really quite the disaster, but maybe it'll be a fun watch. I will be talking about my experiences with this movie and, just giving you all those commentary tidbits that you need to know because they don't include those tracks on the streaming services. Go ahead and queue up to 10 seconds in. I'm watching this on Starz, but Vaughn, you can see the Columbia Pictures logo start at 9 seconds. Just go to 10 seconds if you're watching this on Starz with me, okay? Can you do that? And I want to give a mention to my buddies at calderalab.com. Use my promo code FRY15, save 15% on the best skincare this side of the Daily Bugle. I should probably not freeform all the ad reads. Oh, by the way, they're not paying me to advertise, so it's not even ad read. Anyhow, go ahead, get queued up to 10 seconds in, get your popcorn ready, and hit play now. Yeah, I am expecting a disaster here. I think I watched this movie in its entirety once. Brand new in theaters, opening day. I was in college, went with this buddy of mine, Jay. And I was going to bring my other buddy, Nathan. The three of us were going to go, but Nathan bailed and was like, hey guys, they're showing this movie for free down at the student union called Knocked Up, and Jay and I are like, what a loser. Nathan's gonna go watch some free movie instead of Spider-Man 3, the most expensive movie yet made. Estimated budget like $300 million. Spider-Man 2 had a $200 million budget, and this was sort of at a time where they started to get quieter about how much money they were spending on movies. So at this point it's really estimates. And do you see the money used on screen? At this point, that starts to be a negative Ghost Rider. The pattern is full. We're not getting illustrations recapping the previous two movies like we did with Spider-Man 2. Instead, it's scenes. I was a little bit disappointed in the CGI work in Spider-Man 2, though I thought Spider-Man had better CGI than I recalled when we watched them. I don't know how we're going to go here. 2007 should have pretty solid CGI work. I do know that this is the end result of a series of miscasts. They rolled the dice. They got a guy that isn't really cut out for Spider-Man, but made it work. Mary Jane's not right, but they made it work. And you know what? They just played with fire too long. And then they get to here where it's, let's have Ron Howard's ginger daughter shoehorn in as a blonde. Oh, by the way, Eddie Brock is going to be the lanky kid from that 70s show. Yeah, I mean, we pressed our luck, didn't we? What are we watching? Oh, it's the symbiote taking over the spiderweb. That's what it is. Yeah, they spend a bit much here. Oh, look, it's Kevin Feige. I wonder what he's up to these days. Avi Ard, he was in charge of Marvel, I think, up through their acquisition by Disney, so his name was in like all of the stuff for a time. Directed by Sam Raimi. Okay, we are caught up to speed. She ran over to him, and yeah, you know what? Yeah, Spider-Man does look better here. I'm gonna be drinking a Rockstar. And did I get it all over my hands as usual? Yes. All right, guys, we are in Times Square. Worth noting, there is a Spider-Man 3 poster in the background of The Dark Knight. When they're, like, standing... I don't think it's Times Square, though, but... I'm talking right at the beginning, before the bank robbery. Before the Joker gets in there. Gotta wash this off. Got a little meat snack I'm going to eat some of. Miss Stacy, the model, who is... They're telling you she's cute, but honestly, I'm not seeing it. Oh, look, it's Dr. Connors. That might be the most we see of him, never realized as the Lizard. Thinking about asking MJ to marry me, but I'm broke. And that is a tiny-ass diamond. I should know. Starring and third billing. Oh, is this a line everybody gives? Yeah, they left a ticket for me. Roll the dice on a name. So is the idea that the seats are close? This is why we don't have a lot of Kirsten Dunst singing movies. Yeah, I know she ran off with some weird-looking kid from Breaking Bad, but I'm telling you, the height of her powers was Jumanji. And I can say that because I was 10 at the time. Eating a Larissa's Kitchen meat snack thing. It's like beef jerky, but moist. You gotta eat them within 3 days of opening the bag. And there's Pete all mesmerized. Oh, we're gonna look over to the right, and who are we gonna find? It's Harry Osborn. How's he doing? Looking devious. Remember, Harry knows now that Peter is Spider-Man. Peter had a chance to say, I can explain, blah, 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 but we have to say, now, will you help me say MJ? And say, he's like, there's no time. Go ahead and believe what you want to believe, but tell me where he took MJ. Oh, now you want to talk? Hey, maybe Spider-Man gets to raise him from the dead in the MCU. Norman's not going around telling everybody who Spider-Man is. Guess he doesn't need the money. Oh boy, got showed up on the flowers. He's giving her, it's complicated. She knows he's Spider-Man. She could say his dad was Green Goblin. I was about to say Green Lantern. I've got beef snack was a bit tough. Got that in my mouth. Going to the penthouse. Oh, we got new and improved masks. Is that what we got? Working on the glider. Questionable feasibility. Oh yeah. Bathing in the green mist kept the underwear on. All right. So you're thinking everything's going okay in the movie, right? Spider-Man has kind of a Spider-Man date. They're hanging the spider web. That's kind of neat. Could be sus, a little bit spottable. Might be giving away his identity there. And everything's going to go okay. There's not a whole lot to complain about. But then everything will come crashing down, literally. A rock will hit this movie and sink it. All right, we got our little makeout sesh among the web. It's amazing the control he has over the web. It's like, I'm going to shoot a line or I'm going to shoot. Yep, a meteor lands just a few yards away from Peter. Doesn't trigger the spider sense. And not any other commotion. And here comes ooze from the rock. And it seems kind of like the Twilight Zone movie. Was it the Twilight Zone movie where Stephen King was playing with the rock? And the ooze took him over? And this thing is going to climb. This is not the way to go about introducing Venom. At all. It's going to follow around Spider-Man, and he's not going to notice any of this. We have a convict on the loose. Dispatch, this is whatever. I do not miss those Chevy Impalas with the faux Skyline GTR taillights. This movie certainly suffers from that Batman and Robin too many villain syndrome. The thing about Batman and Robin has you got to be a thing with Batman Returns. Hey, we need to have two villains for the hero to go up against. They even include Bane in there. Flint Marko, the Sandman, right? Can't talk to my daughter, but I can totally raid the wardrobe. Oh, Thomas Haden Church coming off of a lot of buzz from Sideways. Though I always thought of him as the mechanic from Wings. It's really important that I dress like a guy from possibly the 1960s. You maybe even killed him, and it wasn't like that. I had good reason for what I was doing. I really needed his car. This method to retcon the demise of Uncle Ben, I don't think that sits well with the audience. I do not think so. Apartments this run down, I don't think they really exist. I think the landlord is going to be required to paint some of this stuff. Now, we had a lot of future celebrity sightings in Spider-Man 1 and 2. I wonder how we're doing with this one. Is it prudent to say Clint Howard's niece is a future celeb in this one? Because it really feels like she's getting projects she didn't necessarily deserve. Oh yeah, noticeable police sirens. Time to go. Doesn't have any powers yet. We will get to that in a bit. Oh, Pete, you couldn't get a cooler looking helmet or a cooler looking bike. You just have to look like a dork. Aunt May no longer at the house. We've moved Aunt May into, a old folks community? I'll tell you, there is something frightening about Aunt May. She just looks like she could just go rogue and stab you. Maybe that's just me. Want to let you know I'm chickening out on asking Kirsten Dunst to marry me so that she can hang out with Jesse Plemons. You have to go get your aunt's blessing. Wow. This is the pathway to cuckold. Oh yeah, I'm sure Uncle Ben was a knockout in his bathing suit. Yeah, why don't we get the vision of that? Swim to the island? Girls would not be down with that. They'd be, no, you're getting a boat. You're exhausted from swimming to an island, and then he shows you a ring, and delusional, you say yes. Be married 50 years come August. Oh, but you know what happened, Peter. You didn't go to the library. You gotta make the proposal very special. Have Bruce Campbell screw it up. Here, give her this ring. I know you can't afford one. You can't afford to get married. You probably can't afford to have the kids. But it's always the people that are poor that seem to have the most kids. Kind of like the notion is, well, my life's going crap, but maybe if I had a kid, I can live vicariously through their athletic endeavors. They'll get the scholarships and go pro, and then things will turn around for me. Whoop, spider sense completely ineffective again. We got a mix here of, well, there was a lot of CGI actor, and now we're replacing some of them with real, and some of them back to CGI. It is a bit more polished than last scene, but still a bit jank. Especially by today's standards when, I mean, a lot of what you saw in Spider-Man 2 would look better on the PS4 Spider-Man game. I'm a better goblin than my dad ever was. Didn't see you take the injections though, son. Yeah, when you saw the trailer and Harry's got his face halfway covered up and then like mechanically retracts, you knew you were in for something bad. No, my father killed himself by mistake. Oh man, swinging through those rocks has gotta hurt. Yeah, this would be a kill move on most people. You know, raking their face against some building. Again, not shot in 3D, but we are getting a lot of play with the foreground type shots here. It would be, only really 3 years later that everything would come out in 3D. Beeping stops on the glider. What was it beeping for? It's not a low fuel thing. Well, if he jumps off of it, it starts beeping. I don't think people were looking for Peter and Harry to be fighting. It's like kind of disappointing it ended up this way. It's narrow. I mean, they're not really causing that much property damage, relative to superhero fight. Oh, now we're bringing out the explosives. Or, batarangs. How those would possibly work, I couldn't tell you. Like, they're tracking the target. I think they probably envisioned this glider, the surfing through the alley, to be cooler than it is. I would think. And you get a bit of a comical disarming of Harry. Does he call himself the new goblin? Or I don't think he says hobgoblin. Yeah, if the villain takes too many hits on the head, or a hit on the head with a sound effect, it kind of has to be played for laughs, doesn't it? Oh no, are you dead? Luckily you took that green mist. Because pretty sure that would have killed you pretty bad if you hadn't. You're still my friend, I'll give you the CPR. Maybe it would have been better for Harry to check out of the movie right here. Now, what you may not realize is when they say clear on the defibrillator, that's to get everybody away from the body to hit them with the electricity. It's Flint Marko. Guy broke out of Rikers. And is that Zephyrin Cochran? I think they went high comic book with this. We have a foot chase. Oh, smack that doggy. Now you don't like him. Just look at the way how they're kind of playing this tight and with the expressions. Trying to not give you much of a sense of what he's getting into until it's too late. And what the hell? We just so happen to be doing our experiment right now in the dead of night. No real security guards on the premises. It's just kind of, we have a fence. We let the NYPD chase people here right into our trap. What was the goal with this machine if there isn't a person to, like, fuse with the sand and become the Sandman? Now, the Sandman effect, I think this was considered some pretty advanced stuff in its day. Not just as simple as a liquid, but to try to bring sand particles into this. And, okay, maybe his transformation here, melting away, ain't the worst. But, we've seen similar things prior, years before in The Mummy, right? So with CGI sand and like bugs kind of creaturing up to form a bigger unit. So we've seen things of similar advancements. Been some memory impairment, particularly short term. Oh, hopefully he doesn't remember me killing his dad. No, it's fine. Just go ahead and say hi. See if he wants to murder you. Well, he greeted you with a "Hey, buddy," so you're probably in the clear. He died, right? I don't remember. What, do you still think we're dating? You get a lot of goofy grin out of James Franco for your mileage here. Don't do anything to jog his memory. Don't want to explain how he had an accident? Well, you see, you were flying this glider to try to murder me. I'd give my life for them. Foreshadowing, folks. Obvious CGI rocks are CGI. It's interesting that the Sandman turns into not just a person, but the clothes he was wearing. Eventually. And it's getting there eventually. We got to show off our, look what I can do CGI for the audience here. There are efforts here to make Flint Marko sympathetic, and the conclusion you get out of him is a bit different than the vanquishing of most supervillains in films, particularly up to this point. Nowadays, they hardly ever kill him off. They realize they were being manipulated, and then they help the hero, or they need to string him along to extend the franchise. I think the sand creature is something you could see PS5 doing. Oh, I can't even hold my wedding ring. Or no, it's not a wedding ring, it's a locket. Yeah, he has a locket. Peter has a ring. Was nobody watching the sand pit? We were closed in the daytime at this facility. Yeah, you can kind of see how he comes out of CGI to be live action footage there. Looks, as he's transforming, he looks a little bit Ang Lee Hulk-like in the face. Work on my proposal skills. Crummy apartment. The review, it's not good. They hated it and they hated me. Young Miss Watson is a pretty girl. Easy on the eyes, but not on the ears. Kind of makes me think of how people should be looking at Only Murders in the Building on Hulu. Like, how can you stomach Selena Gomez? She has the nasaliest voice. It's like she's not just talking out of her nose, but also Steve Martin's. This is where Mary Jane Watson's character becomes an annoyance. She was perfectly okay in the first two films. Hung out with Peter probably more than a lot of women would have. But she gets jealous of Spider-Man's fame. And at that point, she's not a supportive girlfriend, fiancé, wife material. Oh, you gotta go be Spider-Man. This was what we agreed on. Go get him, Tiger? Applying big emotional line from the previous movie for laughs. Well, you really nailed changing into that costume fast. The symbiote's now getting out. I'm assuming it could have leached onto Peter at some point while he was sleeping, but decided to wait. Because we needed to do Sandman stuff. Oh no, there's a crane that's just having problems. Oh yes, we're modeling copiers. Totally how copiers are presented today, right? Yeah, stare at the I-beam, gals. Now, yeah, fall on the ground for me. That's good. Yes, more. Ooh, did we just get a chick smacked with concrete? Or office material? And then we're going to do this thing, right, where the police chief's daughter is Gwen Stacy. I'm sure this was a big, expensive scene they were quite proud of at the time. But in a lot of ways, it's just the way more of how they make movies these days. Like, we're going to have a big green or blue environment. You're dating my daughter? Now, in the comic books, I'm talking first run, we would not see any. I don't think there's any cross pollination between Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane Watson. It's kind of like once Gwen Stacy's out of the picture, Mary Jane Watson's introduced. I'm not so sure the layman was familiar with Gwen Stacy going into this movie. I myself was not. Just only really what I had told you just now, which I learned, on hearing about her character being included in Spider-Man 3. I'm telling you, Bryce Dallas Howard is pretty basic looking. Hey, I'm new guy. Yeah, they hired me at the Bugle to take pictures of you. Oh, you're slandering Peter Parker's photography? Big mistake. Back at the Daily Bugle. And do we have different faces in the crowd here? We got two gals I don't quite recognize. Doc Ock still at large? Nope, not really. There's Elizabeth Banks. And the comedy bit for him, I think we had some Tums or Rolaids on the counter or on his desk last movie, but now it is just taken over with medication. Yeah, we're pitching like what weird bylines here for the paper. We need a big comical buzzer. Oh, Eddie Brock is just obnoxious. And I'm sure that you were imagining a guy who's a bit more built up. Yeah, Tom Hardy, I think, does a fine enough job for the role. And I would have, been looking for. Actually, Thomas Haden Church, I think, looks more like what one would think Eddie Brock would look like. And so it's like, Topher Grace, just why are you here at all? Like, there's not anybody here you should be playing. There was some talk of Tobey Maguire bowing out before this movie and being replaced by Jake Gyllenhaal, and I think the concept was, oh, well, he's dating Kirsten Dunst, and is he dating her to get the job? Is that what he was doing? But instead, Jake goes on to be Mysterio in a future Spider-Man film that I haven't seen, nor am I inclined to watch. Got a girl I intend to marry. Yep. Helped rescue her today. That's what I do. Yep. A lot of talk. Really taking advantage of JJ trying to be more mellow here, not scream at everybody a mile a minute. Oh, Bill Nunn here spitting the facts. Peter's been with us all this time. Why not give him the staff job? Spider-Man's fake, full of stickum. That's how he does it, huh? Can you get stickum on your hands and toes and climb buildings? Spider-Man to receive key to the city. Save daughter of police captain. Well, looky here, it's a Stan Lee cameo. And he ain't shorter than the talent. I'm guessing that penthouse cost a lot. Oh, Bernard, the worst of all help. I'm telling you, people, when I saw this in theaters, it hadn't quite gotten to the full moon point for most people. I think a lot of people were still kind of like, oh, okay, there's a comet. Not a lot's coming of it. We're getting detracted here with a lot of other stuff, but at some point it gets to people just laughing at the movie. And I think there's an exchange coming up where we have like James Franco, he's telling Bernard, hey, we have company. We need food. Like, oh, the butler doesn't keep food in the building? How's this work? Oh, I can't be trying to jog his memory. Just remember that he loved you. And not that he liked me more than you. Wait, why do I have super reflexes? Seems his hands were a little sticky. Oh no, I'm being replaced. By who? Do we get a look at her? I don't think I recognize this actress. Oh, it's the original person in this role. And oh, this is awkward. Oh, you were supposed to call her agent. Oh, right. Oh, we tried to reach you. Yeah. One critic. No, it was all the papers, dear. Yeah. Okay. So you're like not gonna be in this now? Hey, at least they let you in the building. And now they're clapping for Spider-Man. And this is where I think the audience turns against Mary Jane Watson. Oh, great. Peter's getting all the spotlight. Mwah. And look, oh, we've replaced her on the marquee. Andrea Rubin, or is it Andrea? I can never get those straight. Oh, Peter. Yeah, take it in. At some point, you're going to have to change over to Spider-Man so that you can actually attend the parade that honors you. I have to practice my smooch with Spider-Man. We had one date, Eddie. Is that how we're going to act? Her hair is much less, off-puttingly maroon like it was in the first movie. I think it has, over time, become more natural looking. Alright, we haven't seen Sandman in a bit. He's got a little bit of sand in the air. Ooh, yeah, hilarious. Yeah, of course it's the guy. He's still wearing the same stuff that we last chased him in. Handheld camera shots here, and we're not doing a steady cam. Like, this actually is a bit more avant-garde than most of the movie. Like, just this short shot here. We're going to chase the guy across the street, and we're maintaining one shot. It's quite shaky, and that it does seem stylistically quite a bit different. Yeah, see, now we're kind of going to the shots that we're more used to with the film. It's just a bunch of sand. Now, did he know there was sand in there, or did he become all the sand? That's the question. There seems to be no cap on the size he can be. If there's enough sand, he can become it. Oh, like guns are going to work against sand. Yeah, we have to roar. Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst looking effect of, what was this, 2006? $62 stories. No, not 60 floors, but we want to add those other two. I'm in such a good mood. I have cotton candy now. Well, I was in a play, that is right. I just wasn't a good singer. I wasn't very good. At least she's honest. Why is she campaigning for Spider-Man? He's not running for office. Please, nobody look up and see Peter here without the mask on. Oh no, Peter's becoming a diva. He's soaking in all this attention. What are we gonna do? You know, he deserves a little bit of time to enjoy this. This isn't him turning into a bad dude. Just everybody chill it. Oh, he said Shazam, name dropping. And Mary Jane's going to get pretty upset here because they duplicate the kiss move. No, Spider-Man, no. That might be the best part of the movie. The kids saying, no, Spider-Man, no. Because the kids don't, ooh, kissing, right? Uh-oh. She's not just kissing my man. She's doing my kiss. Oh, now Now the feud with Spider-Man and Mary Jane has commenced. Might be best if we don't catch Harry up to speed on who Spider-Man is. Just keep him in the dark there. I don't think Sandman is so much on the warpath as Goblin was. Goblin was straight murdering people. If you really want to transport money, you need to start just sticking them in like igloo coolers. Try to make it less obvious. I need money. I'm going to rob an armed truck. That sand looks suspiciously like what is it, right? Snap Crackle Pop, what, Rice Krispie treats, right? Rice Krispies, yeah. Well, at least Spider-Man's giving a little bit of back talk. Ford Taurus. It looks like a wagon. Aside from the CGI, not being up to what the standards of the day, of which we're at now, I appreciate that they're actually driving some cars around for the chase. Get the driver out of there. Resilient little bugger. It's quite clear that we have packed too many villains into this movie. We've spent a lot of time with Sandman, and in part, we're doing bits with Harry, and we have done shit all with the symbiote. It was like 15 minutes ago, it was crawling on Peter's desk, and Mary Jane saw it. You know what? I'm going to give her some credit. This might be Mary Jane looking her best in these 3 movies right now, with her hair looking more natural and skin not as clammy. Wardrobe subdued. Oh, Maitre D. Here we go. Bruce Campbell in action. What would have prevented us from having Bruce Campbell play a major character in a Spider-Man movie? I guess I don't understand why not. Admittedly, each of his 3 cameo bits, you do get maybe a laugh from the audience here or there. They're all done for the wink and the nod for the Sam Raimi enthusiast, and also they don't overstay their welcome. Maybe not the most convincing, snooty French maitre d' accent. Yeah, the band's favorite song. You just so happen to have mentioned it. Yeah, we're expecting a big tip for this whole ring ceremony. Band plays the song. What is the signal? Is it just a hand up? And what if she says, no, I don't want some champagne, Peter? Have you thought that through? How'd that get in there? Oh, don't cry. Oh, yeah, Mary Jane not looking too bad right here. No, this place is not in your budget. Haven't had time to tell Peter she was let go yet. Yeah, okay, if kids are going to be dressing up as Spider-Man for Halloween, does Spider-Man get a cut of that action? Pete talks about you all the time. Oh, yeah, that's right. We have a class and we sit far apart, but we're going to act like we know each other. Oh, just who gets to kiss Spider-Man? How about everybody at this table? Sorry, I got a bit of a nosebleed. I'm trying to take care of this. But I press on for my craft. Oh, Mary Jane becoming jealous. That was our kiss. Meh. Maybe, admittedly, though, I mean, he could bring this back on her. Hey, I'm sure you had to kiss guys in your plays, right? Sorry, Bruce Campbell. We just weren't fast enough with the champagne. I mean, this is not an impressive enough rock for somebody that is, a star on Broadway. Hey, it's MJ. Sing your song at the beep. Interesting answering machine message we're going with. And we still have a payphone in use. Yeah, we're not calling iPhones yet, guys. Oh, the days of hearing the answering machine record and then wanting to pick up. Okay, so we're talking to this guy. He was 5'9"? Man, I thought he was taller than that. Crook that fell out the window? Turns out he had an accomplice. Yeah, we're retconning the first movie. This will go over great with the audience. Marko Flint, 5'11"? It's Thomas Haden Church, man. Kind of seems like he might be taller than that. Confessed his guilt over shooting Uncle Ben to a cellmate. And we want to let you know, because he's on the loose. What, you think he's coming to finish off the whole family? All right, son, you don't want to do this. Oh, you're just going to shoot him on the ground? This is, of course, how Peter imagines it played out. So it's like we're going to be getting these different interpretations of how Uncle Ben died. Similar way it goes about for Batman in a sort of parallel franchise. It's like he knows that Joker killed his parents, Batman 89. But then by the time we get to Batman Forever, it's like now I think what Two-Face did it. Like it's like he comes to some weird conclusions. And it sure as hell couldn't have been Two-Face, because we know we saw him as an adult getting attacked with the acid at the court. So none of that made any sense, right? Oh, we're having a spat. Man, this is the crummiest apartment. I mean, I would say it's probably not up to code, but I don't think we need a probably. Don't do something stupid like find my uncle's killer, huh? Will you turn that thing off? Come on, it's like the one piece of kit he really has is his police scanner. Feel guilty. I don't think he feels particularly guilty about this guy falling out the window. I mean, that part of it. He feels guilty about him not stopping him from getting in the elevator. But like I pointed out, the promoter of the wrestling company should have gave him not only the $3,000, but signed him to a long-term deal. When 3 Thomas respond. Just listening all night for one particular crime. Not the Spidey thing to do, right? Oh yeah, let's can we try to get Venom into this movie eventually? Let's see, we're well over an hour in. And it looks like the symbiote is now finally going to do something. Now, of course, I've mentioned how in the '94 Fox animated series, Venom is brought in an episode. I think that they aired prime time. They tried to do it like they would put occasionally a primetime cartoon in, because Batman the Animated Series was on prime time for a bit on Fox, but they would also do some episodes of X-Men and Spider-Man, put them prime time, and wow, this is important. But they had JJ's son, the astronaut, was hanging around on the moon and brought back the symbiote by accident, and that's how Venom got brought into that cartoon series. And we had that character, the astronaut, in the last movie. So we had an in for bringing in Venom, and we screwed it up with a meteor. All right, my suit turned black. I feel wow, okay. Prior to this movie coming out, just seeing the posters and knowing that Spider-Man's going to have a black suit, I went and picked up Secret Wars number 8, condition 9.8, which is somewhat not that rare. But it's the origin story for the symbiote. And all the superheroes got whisked away to like a battle arena. Spider-Man went up to a vending machine and like pushed a button or something, and this black ball came out and it turned his suit black. It's not really shown. Oh, hey, we are hanging out with Dr. Connors, just studying this thing. It's not shown what the advantage is for the black suit, like why he would need this. But in the comic books, for a time, they just turned Spider-Man's suit black. It looked cool. But it could like transform into other clothes for him so that he had a quicker change route. And that's not brought up here. Instead, it's like, you say you feel great or powerful? Like, you're already Spider-Man. Like, what's the relative connection here? Oh, instead we have a black suit. See, that, I'm not so sure that makes sense even. The symbiote's just sitting around as a black suit for him instead of being on the suit he had. But you see, it mixed with him, and then he didn't remember where he was hanging, any of that, and it kind of leads you to believe that maybe he doesn't have full control. Like, I don't remember how I beat up these guys too harsh, and things like that could happen. He's going to get a bit of an attitude, and then it'll turn Peter Parker emo, and the audience will cringe. Here's some web action for you. Spidey Dick, Spidey Dick. Alright, got my point and shoot back up. But don't worry, it's a Leica. Been waiting all day for you, Marko. Polo. Now, Black Spider-Man is going to play rough. I'm trying to remember. Look confused like you're trying to remember the people you shot. Not the most authentic looking subway. But hey, it's not like we don't totally have this fight in Black Panther just recently too, you know? Chunks of sand coming off. Can he lose enough sand that it becomes a weakness? Quite a bit of fighting on the way down from a fall in this movie. Uh-oh. Water. He's learning that water is a problem. I didn't miss. I wanted to hit this pipe. Crash zooms. Director trademark. Oh, you're not the Sandman, now you're the Mud Man. Good riddance. Now, if you could think that he's out of the picture at this point. Like, was the Sandman a thing that kind of happened to bring out and emphasize the Venom takeover of Peter Parker? And maybe that would have been a better route to go. Oh, look, it's the rent guy. Oh, he's got the gangly daughter looking around seeing Pete being angry. Makes her sad. That wasn't cool. He's a good boy. He must be in some kind of trouble. Why are you defending him away from his face? You didn't act like he was such a good boy before. What? I'm changing. I'm looking a little more emo with my hair kind of wet and dark, kind of throw that over my eyes a little bit. His hair definitely looks black compared to how we were seeing it. It certainly looks darker. I'm changing. I got to keep this thing in the trunk. He was killed last night. So I was told. Spider-Man killed him. What? Spider-Man doesn't kill people. What really happened? Oh, I killed him. Well, the thing is, he can turn into sand and he got wet and washed away, alright? Thought you'd appreciate Spider-Man killing him for you. Oh, from Broadway to waitress. All right, so Harry's taken up painting. Why is the butler acting like a guest is a thing he's never heard of? I'm telling you, if he had a good butler, he wouldn't become a villain. His daughter is stirring up, I'm guessing, another cake. I don't think he needs your advice, rent dude. Ursula, right, okay. I don't understand the relationship here, what we're supposed to get out of that. Oh, hey, I'm the girl kind of cheering you on to call the other girl. Didn't call Peter. Not quite fiance, but definite boyfriend, and instead wants to hang out with Harry. Because he's got money and he doesn't remember being a jerk. But he wasn't a jerk to her. He showed up and brought huge flowers, right? Uh-oh, are the peppers going to jog your memory? Why are these 20-somethings listening to Chubby Checker? Everything about this seems incongruent with the movie we're supposed to be watching. We're trying to develop some kind of love triangle that seemed to be over. You come to Spider-Man 3 for the cooking scenes, don't you? Don't think that their careers would cross paths again. I could be mistaken, but I don't think I've seen of Kirsten Dunst and James Franco in something together. Trying to help me go through some lines here? Is that what we're doing? Oh yeah, the play he said he wrote for her. What talents does Harry not have? I think your head's healed up pretty good. Oh, we're gonna have a kiss. Bernard, are you watching? I'm sorry. I can't do this to Peter. I shouldn't be inviting my best friend's girl to my private dance, food channel cook. I mean, shit, we're having like a breakfast burrito for dinner. All right, hitting that alcohol now. Back to the old Harry. Dude, one sip of that. What was it? Cognac, maybe? I mean, and he just has transformed. A sip, a look at the painting on the wall, and now I remember. Remember, you're supposed to be getting that avenge me in. Oh, he just remembers everything now. William Dafoe was good enough to have to find some way to work into the 3 movies, right? Who are we going to go after? Sing your song at the beep. Nah, I like my voicemail greeting much more, right? I had Cortana, the Microsoft AI, repeat some lines back. Von Fry's busy saving the world. Leave your message at the beep. Or leave his message, I'll have him call you back, something like that, right? But you can't get Cortana to recite lines for you anymore. They've quietly shut down Cortana, which should have been the AI. I mean, she worked as the virtual assistant in a game from 2001, and yet Siri can just jump in. Yeah, you're totally supposed to bust down my door. Phone call for you, but not to your apartment. This is so bizarre. This is an age of 2006 where most people, particularly New York, should probably have a cell phone. Not a smartphone, but a cell phone. It's pretty much the worst apartment you can imagine. Right outside his door is a payphone people are going to be using all the time. It's never going to be quiet. Hey, I've got some crummy flowers for you. Let's meet on the bridge. Remember, this is the guy you ran away from marrying an astronaut to be with this guy. I think that the direction this should have gone, the 3rd movie, no more love triangle bits, like just, okay, they're going to get married this movie, and they can be married and maybe have a little bit of marriage woes, like struggling to be married in New York, but nothing too serious, nobody driving them apart, just maybe focus more on some Spider-Man activities. Then we get some bad cry face here. I mean, like, we're an hour 30 in and we haven't come close to resolving anything. We haven't even met Venom. Yeah, sure, we've had the symbiote spider suit for a sec. It's a tiny ring, that's what it is. What? I'm letting you talk to other guys? Who could it be? My plan is working. I guess I don't understand. Did he tell her to break it off with Pete? She says bravo to him, but she walks past him like she's upset at Harry also. Oh, who's this other guy? That's so sad. I'm going for the Spider-Man's heart. You got to take down Peter. pretending that I don't remember everything that I do remember. A singing waitress at a jazz club. Oh, you mean she didn't tell you? I thought she did tell Peter that she was having a bad day with the Broadway stuff, and it was pretty easy to jump to the conclusion that she was out. And if he was taking interest in the newspaper, who was playing what role in the news, it would say that she'd been replaced on the Broadway pages. I stole your girl, Peter. Wow. Now I'm gonna walk away. And we're gonna indulge in the bad Spider-Man, huh? Evil Peter. Is he meditating? This is my angry meditation face. Far more under chin fat on a superhero than I think that we really want in our superhero leading man, Maybe I should open the trunk. Oh, but now I've got the emo hair. You're in for some serious hurt. No, she doesn't know you very well. She doesn't seem to know your dad was the Goblin or what you're up to. She tastes like strawberries. I think we will be making a meme of sorts out of that. I think it's something that comes up. Oh man, you actually got a stab in on Spider-Man. We couldn't just spider sense our way through that. Came prepared with a knife, gauntlet, retractable arm, bracer. For what it's worth, Peter, okay, so he gets dumped by MJ. Where's Gwen Stacy? Did you protect him in high school? Because I didn't see it. If he remembers everything, he should remember that Spider-Man can kick his ass. Oh, my secret operations room. Oh no, not my CGI glider. Remember, this is Emo Parker. He's gonna let you get hurt. Oh, dropping truth bombs here. He despised you. You embarrassed him. Goblin Jr. gonna cry? Of course, the big meme from this is gonna be Peter's kind of like emo strut, which we haven't gotten to yet. Yeah, I'll throw the explosion right back at you. I'm bad Spidey. Here we go. Oh yeah, now that I've got my hair going this way, girls are noticing. Spider-Man shows his true colors. When was Spider-Man robbing a bank? Eddie Brock, you doctoring some stuff? This Eddie Brock character just seems so random. Like, Spider-Man's already got a photographer. Looking through some old photos. Looks very familiar. Yeah, I'm noticing that you've doctored this stuff and have fooled everybody at a newspaper who should be able to notice. Or are people just not that accustomed to Adobe Photoshop in 2006? Parker's not known for throwing guys around the office. No, please don't fire him. I'm going to lose everything. Merciful Peter would have played this a little different. Here's the evidence, Bill Nunn. You know, I just picked up on this, but Bill Nunn, he's in Sister Act, the comedy about nuns. I mean, I know he's in Sister Act, but it's like, oh, with the name, I can see how he got the part. I think Peter handled this in a pretty civil way. The guy staged fake photo of Spider-Man robbing a bank. It makes sense to me. Ursula's got the cookies. It would seem that I'm a doctor who's trying to develop a way to regrow this limb I'm missing, would have done something with a little more advanced with the symbiote. Probably, you know, he could have become the lizard off some way of working with this too. I mean, like, we're setting things in stage, aren't we? Look at that gaudy Bluetooth earbud thing he's got going. He's taking advantage of Cookie Girl. Here we go with the emo strut Peter Parker. The girls are now looking a bit disturbed. Like, what's with this guy's dancing? The usual rate's not good enough anymore. It's kind of weird. It's like not all these girls got the same memo on how to behave in the scenes. Like, some of them are passing him looking a little disgusted, and some of them are look amazed. Really, you're going to sit in JJ's seat? Shooting the finger guns. Cringe. You would think that this version of Spider-Man would actually start stealing. Here we go. Oh yeah, bad dancing. We just gotta suit it up. Of course, he's gonna wear black, and it's weird the reaction everybody's having. He thinks he's the cool guy now, but not everybody's reacting that way. But Elizabeth thinks is, and finally the mud comes out of the sewer. Given the capabilities of the Sandman to reform, I'm guessing he just kind of dips out at the end of the movie. He's just like, all right, bye. I'm gonna leave now for a bit. Though it kind of looks like in other capacities you could think the character's dead. Like, oh, this is his dying animation. All right, so here got a new date. The outcast Eddie Brock tailing his one-time date, but more importantly Peter, who he has a serious grudge with. The whole reason we're here is to show you off in front of MJ. Hot legs. Oh, that's a little cringy. Is she credited as hot legs? He's just loving the possibility of making MJ jealous. Oh yeah, I didn't know she'd be here. Singing waitress, they were. Yeah, that it was the job description as I was briefed. See, the symbiote gives me piano abilities. Putting those reflexes to use on the dance floor. Did you want Peter Parker to have a big dance scene? And also, like, it's so corny. Like, the wind rushes into the crash zoom on Gwen Stacy. In some way, it's like, did Baz Luhrmann just jump in for a day to direct this sequence? What movie are we watching at this point? Yeah, we got a light tech ready with the spotlight for these two. You were doing that just to make her jealous? I don't know how I feel about that. I think a lot of girls kind of like being used that way. This isn't going so well, but there'll be others. If you think you're going to bounce this guy, Mary Jane should have warned these guys, don't even try to throw this guy out. Oh, that's where someone in the audience yells out, gotta keep the pimp hand strong. And it really got to this point where in my viewing of this, I was in Lawrence, Kansas at a theater, and we were laughing at this movie far more than we bargained for. It was like people were shouting back at it in disgust. Maybe I gotta get rid of this black suit. After all, it made me swing at MJ. What can I do? He just goes to the church, kind of like an effort to have something related to the comic book and how he gets the suit off of him, because it's the frequency from the bells, but he goes there because of the bells and the effect that they're having on the suit, not so much, oh man, I need to think, I'll go to church. And then just so happens that the bells will work on him. But see, he hasn't had anything happen yet where the bells have made him, oh, hey, I need a bigger frequency to play with this. We're gonna, and then the church and the Disney. Oh yeah, I'll head to the church. It's kind of like he was just looking for somewhere to contemplate what to do. But of course, you're gonna have Eddie Brock underneath, and then the symbiote gets on him, and that lines up well enough. This guy's got quite the grudge against Peter Parker. Yeah, you come to church to ask God to kill somebody for you. Now he's seeing the effect of the bell tolling. For whom does this bell toll, Eddie Brock? Parker. Don't like that line. You know, tearing this off, man, it's amazing how well they were able to do liquid-like CGI before so much other stuff. You know, like, we can nail the liquid viscosity, this look oil, but, I mean, we can't seem to do humans or fabric for shit, and we can't do fur. Look at Jumanji. Nowadays, they've worked out so much of the other parts, at least good enough. Because, you know, they also make the movie look so fake and digital throughout that when you do throw the CGI in, it just matches the other garbage. Oh, it's taken over already. Immediate effect. I don't think anybody particularly likes the look of Venom in this. He has too much of a typical human build face and neck. His proportions are too Topher Grace to work. And so when they give him the super big mouth, it doesn't fit the noggin. And I think in the, is it newly released or is it coming out soon as of this recording, Let There Be Carnage, Venom sequel, I think they've changed the eyes on Venom, made him larger, and kind of like they wrap around his whole head. And from what I've seen of it, it looks like a improvement. You still haven't fixed this door, so I guess I haven't paid rent. Even though now I'm getting paid double at the Bugle, I should be in a better apartment. Actually, did Dr. Connor experiment with some frequencies to find that the symbiote was reacting to it and tell him, like, there probably could have been some ways to work this out? And then he hears the bell, goes up to it immediately. I haven't told you that me and MJ are having a tiff, so here's that ring. You hold on to that. Man, her sincere face seems so disingenuous, like mocking him. You were so sure. Alright, I can go back to being red and blue Spider-Man now. Fortunately, I lost MJ. The hardest part's forgiving yourself, huh? There's a lot of this I can't face you when I'm giving my quiet talk that you're supposed to be hearing the lines to. It's a thing in movies that I don't think people do, and it seems to be derived from or played up too much on soap operas. Marko, back. Oh, but he's fighting Venom, thinking it's Spider-Man. He just walked away like, oh, it's not Spider-Man shapeshift a little bit. It changed, but you're just not Spider-Man. And the peeling back to reveal the face is goofy looking. Yeah, they gave him some muscles here for Venom, but it doesn't seem like, that mouth does not look good. It's not enough. Like, Venom needs to be huge. Alright, we both want Spider-Man. God, it feels like we're really just now making efforts to wrap up this movie. Hell, shouldn't we bring... it's like, could we bring Harry in on the villain conference too? Have the three of us working together? Eddie Brock, did he take out the cab driver? Or is he the cab driver? So are we trying to frame Spider-Man for the murder of MJ here? It's kinda... Alright, if I'm not mistaken, those were police SWAT Hummers that just got flung around, which I don't think I've seen any circumstance where the police had Hummers. Really? She's in peril and you're going to bill her as brief stint on Broadway. All right. Great power, great responsibility. You know the rest. Okay, so it's not even so much like framing Spider-Man, but an evil Spider-Man who's being challenged. With the explosion to Harry, you could have written him off as dead. But now it's almost like he's Two-Face, because we're going to give him like the big scar. Oh, you want my help? Look at this burn. I mean, you can't quite write him off for dead because he would have gone to his funeral. Harry, again, we got to go help Mary Jane. Let's put this in the background for a moment, can we? All right, understood. I'll just be walking out this way. You know, I guess I could get in on the action after all. Bernard, if I may, sir, I know all your activities here. I've seen things that have not spoken of. This is so bad. Now your father died, cleaned his wound. The blade that pierced his body came from his glider. It wasn't Spider-Man's blades. I loved your father as I love you, Harry, but where was Mom in the picture? Maybe we're revealing too much here, Bernard. But in a way, Bernard propels Harry to go help Spider-Man, though it doesn't work out so well for Harry. You know, in a way, this is a big set piece. You have the taxi suspended in the webs, but in today's superhero level of consequences, this seems kind of like something they wouldn't even bother with. All right, red and blue is on the scene. American flag. Eat it, import views. And we have a British reporter in New York City. It was a trap. They're going to kill us both. No, this is kind of cringe joke territory here. Spider's is tingling, if you know what I'm talking about. What does that even mean in relation? So I'm guessing because the symbiote was with Spider-Man, the powers it kind of duplicated from him have transferred over to Brock. And we're giving Brock the shaved teeth here instead of it just being exclusive to Venom's mouth. And it's a weird look. Yeah, we're going to launch some cinder blocks from a dump truck above the taxi. That was also part of the plan. So I'm wondering, does it relay the memories? Like, it took some of his memories, and so he has the knowledge that Peter has? Like, calling him Tiger right there should have been sort of private. And fighting while falling. Not our smoothest landing, Parker. Oh yeah, she can hear you from down here. All right, we just need a fire hose now. Take care of this whole sand situation. I mean, shoot, it's hard enough to hear my mom when she has a mask covering her face in the grocery store. I'm doubting with his mask on, she can hear him from some 30 stories up. How weak is Venom webbing? You think this would be able to hold her for, the duration of this fight, no problem? This is also a little funnier than it probably should have been. Hammering away at Spider-Man and not being terribly effective, but the reaction from the crowd kind of ushers in the laughter for the audience in the theater, because they're like, oh no, how much of the beating can he take? Hold on, I'm just gonna reach my hand out and keep getting smacked. Where was the helpful crowd that we once had on Spider-Man 2? That was on Spidey's side. See, they should have courted Harry and got him in on the action instead of leaving him out. Now he's like, oh, well, Spider-Man told me to help him. So, after a good pep talk from my butler, you know what it is that makes Venom look so bad is the lack of the jaw. He needed a seriously strong chin. Not even going to hide my face this time. How well does that sand hold up to flame, huh? Shattering glass. Yeah, I'm kind of okay with JJ being here, but why do we have a little girl and this hot chick on the side? Not really the best time to insert Jameson, because it's like we're in the middle of a fight and we're cutting away to do side gag. Shouldn't she be a little surprised by Harry having a glider and all this? Like, I don't think she was in on this information. Yay, cheers. See, that's the appropriate time to cut to the audience, or rather, I guess the audience of the fight, huh? All right, are we on good terms again? All right, but there's a water tower right there. Why don't we use it right now? The Venom screech isn't even good. You get a better screech on Saved by the Bell. It says goblin screeching too in the brackets. I feel like they do the Venom suit all sorts of injustice here, where they're doing it better now. How it has like a looser vibe about it, more CGI, more tendrils dancing about on it. Whereas, you go the next step with Carnage, and it's almost airy, like it's giving off gas particles or something. It's so loose. And that seems to be the way that they're playing it correctly for the soon to be released Let There Be Carnage, differentiating the two. But this suit acting too much like Spider-Man's outfit, where it's like skin tight instead of having any loose elements readily moving, crawling about. Don't you remember frequencies? Come on. Yeah, let's just dumb play that for the audience. Yeah, we remember the bell. Need to make some noise. Ka-ching. Stabbing Harry. I don't think the audience was looking forward to Harry coming to an end like this. I think Harry could have survived the films, and it would have been better. Kind of have him turn good and forgive Spider-Man, but not have to die for doing so. Oh man, jabbing those pipes into the floor, just the chunks of floor and CGI around it don't look great. Not a bad strategy though. He made like a prison cell around him to ding these pipes. You separate Eddie Brock. No, not the symbiote. That was my ticket back to fame and fortune. He tries to jump in to save him, and you can see Eddie Brock's skeleton. No coming back from that. All right, so Sandman, we're going to just have a chat. Like, he kind of sees how things are going for the rest of them, and he's kind of like, I guess I'm next. So if you'll just forgive me for killing your Uncle Ben, I'll be on my way. I didn't want this. Well, it seems like a lot of disasters happen whether you want it or not. Oh, we always have a choice. You had a choice when you killed my uncle. And here we go with the flashback. We're doing the Rashomon Spider-Man 3 here. This is my version of the events. Why don't you just put down the gun and go home? Yeah, that's how you deter a carjacking in New York City, guys. Saw my partner running over the cash, and the gun was in my hand, and I accidentally flinched and shot him because I kept my finger on the trigger. And we got Tobey Maguire crying again with his extra chin. I mean, check out the strong John Thomas Haden Church, man. And there's your Venom. Alright, well, now that I heard your side of the story, I'll admit I've done some terrible things too. Not really. You are Spider-Man. Has he gotten that money to his daughter to get her the treatments? Well, I mean, you have your daughter, but you surely have a baby mama or ex-wife also. I don't think the audience really wanted forgiveness for this guy. I mean, we retconned and shoehorned in a villain, trying to give him backstory to relate to Spider-Man's origin. Well after the fact. And we're gonna, I forgive you, now you can go float away to your daughter. I mean, I don't think it's Sandman dying. I think Marco's just going to reform up at the apartment. Poor Harry. See, this is why people can't know that I'm Spider-Man. Days where we actually had a practical appliance on the face for the damaged character, you know, now if you're going to do the movie, you go ahead and do the CGI so that people can't cosplay it, right? You take out more of that, because with the CGI you're able to remove head, you can remove the face and show the inside of the mouth from an angle, right? I know that you know, in reference here, Two-Face, The Dark Knight, but it can look better than that it does in that movie nowadays, right? Peter Parker cry face again. Not a good crier. All right, Peter, you have taken out Oscorp. I guess it's left in the hands of Trusty Bernard. Another funeral. We're going to end two of the 3 Spider-Man films with a funeral, and they will largely look the same. Mute that color palette down, cooler tones. Bernard got his wish. So does this make Harry Osborn like the hero? Oh, is that Flash Thompson back there? Walking towards the casket? I think it is. The people down below are probably thinking Harry's the hero, you know. I mean, you got the police captain over there, pretty good crowd turnout. Back to being a singing waitress. Mary Jane may be looking her best right here of all 3 movies. Look, we're paying Tobey Maguire obscene money to be in these movies. We couldn't have had somebody do something about this chin here, even if we're going to do it in post. Well, no one else is left to come to your show, so I guess it's me. Okay, so if the singer leaves the stage to slow dance, we couldn't just cut to somebody like, I just came here to get coffee. And that's it. That's the end of Spider-Man 3. Probably not intentional, but it would kind of seem like if you wanted to get the public behind rebooting. Joe Manganiello, Flash Thompson, yes it was. You could maybe get the public behind cheering for a reboot by making the last installment bad. And then people will be, oh, well, you know, we could do it again, but we could do better next time, right? Like, yeah, it's time to reboot it. You used to be able to have the idea that, oh, well, that was a 50s movie. Now that we have CGI, we can do... Now what they do is to justify the reboot, they say, you know, we could just turn it not into a white guy, turn it into a girl, turn it into an Asian, turn it into a black guy. We can do something like that to call that into necessitate the reboot. And that seems to be the way that they do it now. Well, now it's time for a insert franchise name for this generation, right? A new generation. It's Spider-Man for your kids. You know, now your kids can have their own version. So it seems like if you want to make the last installment lackluster, you can get the public behind cheering and accepting a reboot instead of just, oh, I can't believe they're doing that again. I was already bored with it. So, in looking back at Spider-Man 3, maybe, my taste, having known how the direction movies would go after this, I guess we can look back on this, rather quaint showdown and straightforward plot without a shitload of holes thrown at you in rapid succession. Seeing how different they make blockbusters now, to the point where they're so disappointing with stories that make no sense whatsoever, heroes forgetting what powers they had. And you might feel to appreciate Spider-Man 3 a little more. Well, that does it for me. Adios.